Some people don't feel lonely because they're alone. They feel lonely because only their pet truly understands them. You can be surrounded by people all day, co-workers, friends, conversations that look normal from the outside, and still feel like you're holding your breath the entire time. You listen, you respond, you smile at the right moments, but something in you stays braced as if you're waiting to be misunderstood. Then you come home. The door closes, the noise drops, and before a single word is spoken, your body changes. Your shoulders soften, your breath deepens. Two eyes meet yours, not searching for explanations, not measuring your mood, not asking you to be different than you are. In that moment, you're not impressive, you're not interesting, you're not doing anything right. And somehow, that's exactly enough. This isn't about loving animals more than people, it's about where your nervous system finally feels safe. With your pet, you don't have to clarify what you meant. You don't have to monitor your tone. You don't have to wonder how you're being perceived. You're allowed to exist without translating yourself. If the only place you feel fully understood is beside an animal, that doesn't mean something is missing in you. It means something learned, quietly, early, and deeply, what safety feels like when words are no longer required. For you, being with people isn't just about connection, it's about management. Every conversation comes with a quiet, ongoing calculation. How much should I say? Did that sound wrong? Should I explain myself more, or would that make it worse? While others seem to move through social moments effortlessly, your attention is split. Part of you listening, part of you monitoring yourself from the outside. This isn't insecurity. It's something psychologists call social cognitive load. The mental effort required to track tone, context, intention, and how you're being perceived all at once. And for you, that load is unusually heavy. Not because you lack social skill, but because you're highly attuned. You notice subtle shifts most people miss. A pause that lasts a beat too long. A change in facial expression. A response that sounds polite but feels off. Your mind automatically starts adjusting, correcting, smoothing things over before they can turn into misunderstandings. That constant self-monitoring is exhausting. And over time, it teaches your nervous system a quiet lesson. Being fully yourself around people is risky. So you learn to filter, to simplify, to hold parts of yourself back. Not because you're hiding, but because you're preventing damage. You've likely been told you're too quiet, too thoughtful, or that you overthink things. But what's really happening is this. You're doing more internal work just to stay connected. And when connection requires that much effort, it stops feeling like relief. It starts feeling like pressure. At some point, words stopped feeling like a bridge for you. They started feeling like a risk. It's not that you don't know how to express yourself. You do. But experience taught you that once something is said, it doesn't just disappear. It gets remembered, interpreted, replayed later with a tone you never intended. Sometimes it gets used as evidence of who you are, what you meant, or what you supposedly failed to be. So you became careful. You learned that honesty could cost you, that explaining yourself didn't always bring clarity, it often brought more scrutiny. The more precisely you tried to communicate, the more room there was for misunderstanding. And eventually, your nervous system made a simple association. Speaking openly equals exposure. People don't just hear words, they store them. They attach meaning, judgment, and memory. Even well-intentioned people carry what you say forward, consciously or not. For someone who's been misunderstood before, that permanence feels dangerous. Your pet is different. They don't archive your sentences. They don't replay your worst moments. They don't hold your words against you the next time you're tired, quiet, or off balance. They respond to what's happening now. That's why silence with an animal feels safer than conversation with a human. It's not emptiness, it's protection. A space where nothing you say can be twisted, and nothing you don't say has to be explained. And once you've felt that kind of safety, it's hard to go back. What makes this bond feel so different isn't just silence, it's how you're being understood within it. Your pet doesn't listen to your explanations. They don't need your story. They don't wait for the right words to decide how to respond. Instead, they read what most humans overlook, or never learn to notice at all. Your posture when you walk through the door, the pace of your breath, the tension in your shoulders, the energy you carry before you say a single thing. This is something known as non-verbal attunement. Because animals don't rely on language, they become exquisitely sensitive to the nervous system beneath behavior. They respond to regulation, not performance, to presence, not presentation. When you're anxious, they move closer. When you're withdrawn, they don't demand explanations. When you're overwhelmed, they don't try to fix you, they simply stay. And that's the part that matters most. There is no interpretation layer here, no subtext to decode, no hidden meaning to defend against. You're not being evaluated for consistency or coherence. You're being met exactly where you are. For someone like you, someone who learned early to monitor reactions, to read rooms, to anticipate emotional shifts, this kind of attunement feels profoundly relieving. It allows your system to stand down, to stop scanning for threat, to stop preparing for misunderstanding. With people, being read often comes with judgment. With your pet, being read comes with acceptance. They don't need you to make sense. They don't need you to be articulate. They don't need you to be okay. They simply recognize your state and respond with connection instead of correction. And once your body learns what that feels like, it remembers. In psychology, there's a term for the kind of acceptance your nervous system is responding to here: unconditional positive regard. It means being received without evaluation, without correction, without the subtle sense that love is contingent on improvement. Most people rarely experience this from other humans. Even in our closest relationships, acceptance often comes with conditions, spoken or unspoken. Be a little calmer, be more confident, be easier to understand. We learn quickly that love is often paired with feedback. Support is paired with expectation. Over time, that teaches the nervous system to stay alert, to self-edit, to earn safety rather than assume it. Your pet operates outside of that system. They don't require growth before connection. They don't withhold closeness until you're better. Their presence doesn't fluctuate based on your productivity, mood, or social performance. When you sit down exhausted, they don't wait for an explanation. They simply join you. That kind of acceptance feels rare because it is. It bypasses the part of you that's used to being assessed. It quiets the internal voice asking, "Am I enough like this?" And in that quiet, something softens. Something that's been braced for a long time finally relaxes. This isn't because animals are superior to people. It's because they offer something most humans were never taught how to give consistently: presence without agenda. And when you've spent much of your life feeling subtly measured, even by people who care about you, that absence of condition feels almost unreal. But your nervous system recognizes it instantly. Not as excitement, not as intensity, but as relief. And relief, once felt, becomes something the body deeply remembers and seeks again. What you feel around your pet isn't just emotional, it's physiological. When you're with them, your body begins to shift in measurable ways, often before you consciously register it. Heart rate slows, breathing deepens, muscle tension eases. This isn't imagination or sentimentality, it's your nervous system changing state. Interaction with animals has been shown to increase oxytocin, the hormone associated with bonding and trust, while lowering cortisol, the hormone linked to stress and vigilance. But what matters most isn't the chemistry itself. It's what that chemistry signals to your body. It signals safety. For someone who spent years staying alert in relationships, monitoring reactions, anticipating misunderstanding, preparing for emotional fallout, This shift is profound. Your system finally receives consistent evidence that closeness doesn't have to come with risk. And because your pet responds to your state rather than your story, this regulation happens without effort. You don't have to talk your way into calm. You don't have to explain why you're tense. The relief arrives first and understanding follows. Over time, your body begins to associate your pet with regulation itself. Their presence becomes a cue. You can stand down now. And the nervous system learns quickly from repetition. This is why the bond can feel so deep, so grounding, sometimes even more stabilizing than human connection. It's not about preference, it's about predictability. Your body trusts what is consistent, and your pet is consistent in a way that words, moods, and expectations often aren't. So when you seek them out after a hard day, you're not avoiding people. You're responding to a system that finally knows where it can rest. That's not weakness. That's biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. There is a particular kind of safety that comes from being seen and knowing nothing will be done with what's seen. Your pet has witnessed you in moments no one else has. Not the curated version, not the composed one. The moments you didn't explain, the ones you didn't clean up afterward. They've seen you exhausted on the floor, staring at nothing. They've seen you cry without knowing why. They've seen you angry, withdrawn, overwhelmed, and completely undone. And nothing changed. They didn't bring it up later. They didn't remember it the next time you were quiet. They didn't adjust how they felt about you based on what they saw. They simply stayed. This is what makes them a silent witness, not because they can't speak, but because they don't convert your vulnerability into a record. There is no mental file being built, no narrative forming about who you really are based on your worst moments. For someone who has learned to guard themselves, to keep certain feelings hidden because exposure once led to judgment or distance, this is extraordinary. In human relationships, even the safest ones, there's often a subtle fear. What will this change? Will they see me differently? Will this alter how much space I'm allowed to take? With your pet, that question never arises. Their presence anchors you in the present. It pulls you out of mental time travel, out of worrying how something will be remembered, misinterpreted, or used later. You are not being assessed for emotional consistency. You are not being measured against your best days. You are simply allowed to exist as you are right now. In therapeutic terms, safety is the prerequisite for healing. Without it, the nervous system stays defensive. But when safety is sustained quietly, repeatedly, defenses soften on their own. Your pet doesn't heal you by fixing anything. They heal you by removing consequence from being fully seen. And for a system that learned early that visibility could be dangerous, that kind of witnessing is profoundly restorative. Patterns like this don't appear out of nowhere. They form early, long before you could name them. Many people who feel understood only by their pets learned, at some point in childhood, that words weren't a reliable path to safety. Not because no one loved them, but because emotional environments were unpredictable. Caregivers whose moods shifted without warning. Adults who reacted strongly, dismissed feelings, or misunderstood intent. So you adapted. You learned to watch closely, to read faces, to notice tone changes before they turned into trouble. You figured out how to stay regulated by staying quiet, how to stay connected by not asking for too much. This wasn't a flaw, it was an intelligent response to an environment where speaking openly carried risk. Over time, your nervous system learned something very specific. Safety lies in observation, not expression. You became fluent in nonverbal information. You learned to feel what others were feeling without needing them to say it. But you didn't always learn that you could be felt in return without having to translate yourself perfectly. That early learning doesn't disappear when you grow up. It becomes a template, one that quietly guides where your system relaxes and where it stays on guard. Animals fit that template seamlessly. They don't demand verbal clarity. They don't require emotional justification. They respond to your state, not your explanation. and to a system that learns safety through attunement rather than dialogue that feels instantly familiar. This doesn't mean something went wrong in your development. It means you became skilled in a specific kind of relational intelligence, one that prioritizes regulation over articulation. But there's a cost. When safety is learned without words, connection through words can feel unnatural, effortful, or even threatening. And unless that pattern is recognized, it can quietly narrow the places where you feel at home. Understanding where this began isn't about blaming the past. It's about giving context to the present and compassion to the way you learned to survive. The bond you have with your pet is real, and it is healing. But there's a line, often invisible, between a sanctuary and a bunker. A sanctuary is a place you return to in order to rest, regulate, and restore your capacity to engage with the world. A bunker is a place you hide when the world starts to feel too demanding, too risky, or too disappointing. The difference isn't the bond itself, it's what the bond allows or replaces. When safety has been scarce, it makes sense to stay where it's guaranteed. Your pet doesn't misunderstand you. They don't argue with your reality. They don't challenge your coping strategies or ask you to stretch beyond what feels manageable. And that's where the risk quietly appears. Human relationships, for all their complexity, offer something animals cannot: reflection, friction, the chance to be seen and responded to in ways that help you grow. They require negotiation, repair, and vulnerability, skills that can only develop through contact. If your pet becomes the only place your nervous system ever relaxes, the world outside can begin to feel increasingly unsafe by contrast. Social interactions feel louder, misunderstandings feel sharper. Withdrawal starts to look like peace. This isn't a failure. It's a protective strategy that's overstayed its usefulness. Avoidance doesn't always look like fear. Sometimes it looks like preference. I just like animals more. But beneath that preference may be a system that learned it's easier not to risk being misread at all. Your pet should help you recover, not replace the possibility of connection. They are meant to support your return to the world, not become the reason you no longer enter it. Recognizing this line isn't about giving anything up. It's about noticing when safety stops expanding your life and starts quietly shrinking it. The goal was never to replace people with animals. The goal was to remember what safety feels like. Your pet didn't become important because they fixed you. They became important because they showed your nervous system something it may have forgotten or never fully learned. Connection doesn't have to hurt. Being seen doesn't have to cost you. Presence can exist without pressure. That experience matters. It becomes a reference point, a template you can carry forward. Not everywhere, and not with everyone, but with the right people in small and intentional ways. You don't need to force openness. You don't need to explain yourself perfectly. Safety travels through pacing, through boundaries, through choosing environments that don't demand performance. Integration isn't about becoming more social. It's about becoming more selective. Let your pet remain what they are, a place of regulation, grounding, and unconditional presence, and let that stability support you as you slowly test connection beyond that bond, where it's earned, where it's mutual, where it respects your nervous system instead of overriding it. If this video helped you recognize something about yourself, you're not alone here. This channel explores the quieter patterns of the human mind, without judgment, without pressure. If you'd like to continue these conversations, consider subscribing. And I'd love to hear from you. Who is the silent witness in your life? What moment did they stay when you needed it most? Share your story in the comments below. Thank you for watching.